Hello, and welcome to another episode of Tuesdays with Tally. This is episode 57, and I'm your host, Brian Tally. The mission and the goal of this podcast is to bring an engaging conversation that will add value to the lives of everyday people. We will inspire, encourage, educate, and tell the stories of America's finest men and women in an effort to motivate you to live your life to its fullest potential. Be sure to follow us on social media and on Spotify. The online information and handles are all located on the scrolling ticker at the bottom portion of your screen. Be sure to like and share the program as well. You can also support the program by going to Anchor FM or Spotify and clicking the support button. Do you own a business? Do you want exposure? Do you want to be heard? Let me help you advertise your business right here on this podcast. Program sponsorships include a custom written script to advertise your business to its fullest potential. Email me directly at thetallybill@gmail.com and let's set up an impactful advertising plan to help you and your business get the results you're looking for. Again, email me directly at thetallybill@gmail.com. That's thetallybill@gmail.com. And let's get started today. Folks, we have a very special guest joining us on today's program. Juan Garcia, aka Sgt G, is a Marine veteran who spent 9 years on active duty and served 2 combat tours in Iraq. He and his wife started Rapha 180 in 2017 to help with issues such as PTSD, anxiety, pain, and other ailments with a focus on a natural approach. He is an advocate of marijuana on a federal level, pursuing federal legislation and the medicinal benefits of CBD. He founded the Stoned Vet USMC in 2020 during the pandemic to help bring veterans together to advocate and to educate them to alternative medicine and healing instead of living a life of handfuls of pills like many veterans do day in and day out just to make it through the day. Sgt G believes we have the right to medicate with marijuana, CBD, and other natural remedies. Sgt G is a medical freedom advocate as well as promotes opportunities that help veterans and their families who served their country. In 2021, he won the #1 Marine Corps podcast from the Veteran Podcast Awards, and in 2022, he won Top Podcast Award in Chronic Palooza. His podcast promotes veteran-owned businesses, nonprofits, and outreach programs that are geared towards promoting a positive community and a healthy lifestyle. And with that, we are honored to be joined by Sgt G, United States Marine Corps. How are you, sir?
Oh, what's up, brother? I really appreciate that wonderful intro, man. You say it all professional, the way you sing it, right? Like we all do as Marines, we sing everything we talk about, right? And I appreciate this wonderful opportunity to be able to be with you today. Like I tell everybody, when I'm able to go on a podcast or I host my own podcast, this is my counseling session. This is my therapy session because one of the biggest things that sucks after getting out is the camaraderie that we had when we were in, right? Because regardless if we hated the guy that we worked with or we love the guys that we worked with, we were always together no matter what. And doing these podcasts, it's able to allow us to have that community once again that we're able to do this. So I really appreciate that wonderful opportunity, that wonderful intro you gave me, Brian.
Hey, man, look, when I was going through a lot of my life challenges and battling adversity, and, when I was taking on the VA and the federal government to protect 20.2 million American veterans, you gave me a voice. Absolutely. On your show. And, and I sincerely appreciate that. And really, at the end of the day, this is about a veteran community working together for the betterment of the entire veteran community, as military and first responders and really anybody out there who has battled any sort of trauma in their life or just wants to connect with somebody and just absorb some of that real life value that can help us all in our daily walk in what we call life. So let's get started. Let's meet Sgt G. So many people know the Rapha 180 of you. They know you from the Stoned Vet USMC. They know you as a podcaster. But let's get to know you a little bit more, especially for those folks out there that may be tuning in who support you, they're like, oh wow, I get to see the script has been flipped. I have gone from being the interviewer to the interviewee. So let's get started. Where were you born, and what was life like as a kid?
Absolutely, brother. So I was born down in Edinburgh, Texas. If you guys are in the Texas area, I was born down in the valley down there. I was down there till I was about 2 years old, and then my father moved with his brother. His brother is a retired Air Force captain, and he moved up here to Oklahoma City to Tinker Air Force Base. And I guess my dad decided to join him up here. And so really, I was raised here in Midwest City, Oklahoma, and that's where I spent all my life. You know, that's the only place I knew because, like I said, I was only 2 years old when I left Texas. I don't remember anything from 2 years old. Hell, I don't even remember anything from last night, you know? And so, but I grew up here in Midwest City. You know, I spent 17 years here. I grew up, and then I'm a high school dropout. I said, I'm not going to, high school wasn't for me. You know, I ran with the wrong crowd. I was doing bad things. And I probably tell you that's when my cannabis journey began. Like many of us, when we're child and adolescents, right? We smoked weed just to have fun. That's why we smoked it. That's why I smoked weed. I started at 12 years old, and I smoked till I was about 15 when I went to the youth academy here in Oklahoma to get my GED. And that's one of the biggest things. Like I bring on a lot of advocates and a lot of people who are for the plant, right? Who are for plant-based medicine. They tell you, yeah, dude, I started smoking when I was 12, 13, 14 years old, but it was out of recreational use, right? It was to have fun, just to have a good time with your friends, you know, which is understandable, right? Because the majority of us as veterans now, we drink to relax, right? We are some of the biggest alcoholics there are is the veteran community, right? We drink, right? Why? Because it's accessible. It's accessible, and there's no punishment for you to have a couple of beers or have you a bottle a night, you know. And so once I went to the youth academy here when I was 16. Well, yeah, about when I was 16, I went to the youth academy, and I got my GED. It was like a 9-month program, a boot camp. It was boot camp for 9 months. You know what I'm saying? I was like, golly. And then when I was on a 2-week vacation, that's when I met my beautiful wife. Was on one of my 2-week libos they gave me. They gave me libo for a weekend libo. I came back home. That's when I ran into my wife, and we've been together ever since. 22 years now, you know. After I finished that, they told me I had the only recruiter knocking on my door after I graduated, right? You know who it was. Damn Marine Corps recruiters. You know how persistent they are. They're like, oh, he's already done boot camp. Our boot camp won't be nothing for him, right? I told him, I said, I'm not joining the military, dude. The military's for losers. I ain't doing that crap. I don't want to be in the military, right? And I met my wife, and I was like, we got to get out of where we're at because we're just in a bad situation, right? Both of our parents, her parents, were no longer in her life. My dad was no longer in my life, you know, and my mom was always working, so I didn't have no parents, you know. And so I said, screw it, I'm just going to join the Marine Corps. Why not? Let's just join the Marine Corps. So I joined the Marine Corps at 17 years old, you know. I spent my 9 years in there. You know, I spent a year in Okinawa because after I graduated MOS school, which I never used while I was in the fleet, of course. I went to MOS school as a water purifier. And they said, you're going to be a water purifier. And I was like, damn it, dude. That's not what I signed up for. And so I went and did that. I did the tech school for that. I did the MOS school for that. And then, you know, I asked the instructor, I said, where do you recommend, right? You've been in the Marine Corps for a set amount of time. What duty station would you recommend for a 17-year-old little kid? And he said, Okinawa. Go to Okinawa. I said, all right. And my wife was still in high school at the time, right? And I was like, so I told her, I said, I'm going to go to Okinawa because he said it's better to go now your first year than have them send you your 4th year. And I said, well, that makes sense. He said, because they send you on the 4th year, you ain't got nothing. You don't have anything, right? And I said, all right. So I went to Okinawa. At 17 years old, I was in Okinawa, you know, which was the best freaking. That must have been my most favorite duty station, right? But they had just lifted the Cinderella clause, so we didn't have no Cinderella clause. And so, but what was bad is that the people that I went with, we screwed it up for everybody else after us. Like it was so bad. Like the sergeants, the corporals, NCOs, everybody was going out in town and just tearing everything up, you know. And so when it was time for me to go, when my 1 year was up, they started implementing Cinderella clause, and I was like, "Well, I'm glad I'm leaving, dude. I'm glad I'm out of here." They started implementing Cinderella clause because it got really bad. Like a lot of my NCOs were breaking into homes and just they weren't even stealing anything. They were just going in there just to go urinate or whatever, get some food or something, you know. And I was like, "This is crazy," you know. So I spent a year out there, and then I went to North Carolina. Like, you want to go swing with the wing? You know what I'm talking about, Brian? They said, you want to go swing with the wing? I was like, yeah, let me go swing with the wing. I've been working out here with you guys at FSSG, which is what MLG now. And I was like, yeah, I'll go swing with the wing. So I went to an air squadron out in New River. I spent 4 years out there, and I was like, I thought I was supposed to swing with the wing, man. I deployed more times with those guys than I did with anybody else. I was like, this is ridiculous, you know? And so I spent 4 years there. I re-enlisted to try to get stationed in Fort Worth, Texas, there at the JRB in Fort Worth. So I was just going to get out, right? I was going to get out. I was going to live in Texas, get out, right? Because Texas has amazing benefits for veterans, if you guys don't already know.
Mm-hmm.
And so they told me there's no openings, there's no openings. And so when I got back from Iraq the second time, my chief was like, hey, you got to get out of here. You've been here too long. I said, I re-enlisted to leave this place, and you guys have nothing for me. You know, so he called the monitor up, and I told my wife, I said that I just talked to the monitor. He said, we're not going to Texas. There's no openings. I said, where do you want to go? She told me Hawaii. I was like, no, you hear about Marines that go to Hawaii, but you yourself never goes to Hawaii. And I was like, all right, called the monitor back up. He said, Hawaii just opened. I said, all right, sign me up. I was like, I'll go, right? He's like, you got to extend your contract for another year, though. I said, that's fine. Extend it for another year if I'm going to Hawaii, right? Why not? Why wouldn't you? You know? So I spent my last 3 years of service there, and I was like, I'm done, dude. I'm done. It got stupid. And like a lot of you guys, if you guys that have been out for some time, you guys, or some of you that just recently got out, you guys know the change that has been happening in our military, right? It's gotten really bad recently, and it continues to get worse, you know? But that's my story in a nutshell, you know? That's my story in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. You know, I'm brand new at this. This is day 64 for me, and you are my 57th episode. But I've had a lot of Marines on, and the similarities and the commonalities between why Marines join the Marine Corps, is because a lot of the times they didn't have that structure.
Right.
In their life. They didn't have that guidance in their life. They were looking for some sort of mentor. They were looking for some sort of life coach. They're looking for some sort of head start on, hey, look, I want to be successful. I just don't know how I'm going to get there. And folks like us that, may not have had that father figure in their life to teach them a lot of the stuff on how to be a man, decided to join the Marine Corps,
right,
to learn a lot of those traits, and we have so many commonalities, and I think that's why Marines are so very well connected, because we share a lot of the same childhood experiences. Now, when you joined the Marine Corps and you served, what was it, 7 years or 9 years?
9 years. I did 9 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So you served 9 years in the Marine Corps. Do you have a moment that kind of sticks out that made you really proud? As if, what was your proudest moment in the Marine Corps?
Yeah, for me, I mean, there was so many, but I think for like any of us jarheads, right? Like you were speaking about before, I got two older sons, and one of my sons asked me, he said, I want to join the Marine Corps. I said, there's only two types of people that join the Marine Corps, right? Those like me who want to get out of where I'm at, right? Get out of the situation that I'm in, or those that are trying to live up to their family's legacy. My grandpa was a Marine, my dad was a Marine, my mom was a Marine, whatever the case may be, right? And I tell him, I said, you don't have that, right? I said, I'm here with you. I'm helping you go through school, getting everything that you need. I'm giving you what you need, right? I said, majority of people who join the Marine Corps, right? I'm either going to jail or I'm going to join the Marine Corps, right? I got to get out of where I'm at, or I'm going to join, or how do I get out of where I'm at? I'm going to join the Marine Corps, right? Because why? That's why some of us, I think that's why our camaraderie is so strong, right? One of my supervisors, he's a retired master sergeant of the Air Force, which is a gunny to us, right, in the Marine Corps. And he's like, you guys crack me up, dude, because you guys are always talking about how you guys are always Marines. Once a Marine, always Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine. I said, but this is the problem that you don't understand, right? I said, you can give me heckle. Yeah, I got out after 9 years. But my 9 years that I did more than the 20 years you served your country. I did more in 9 years than you did in 20, right? I said, you guys don't understand the camaraderie that we have amongst each other within the Marine Corps, right? Us Marines, we're always together. We understand. When you see somebody wearing something, it's always hoorah. Semper Fi, devil. Anytime somebody's wearing a hat, a shirt, a cloth, whatever it is, right? It's on their car, it's whatever, right? We see them driving by with the sticker on their car, we honk at them and we just drive by, right? And they see our sticker, right? Because we have our stickers on our cars. We let people know we are Marines, right? Because we're we are the significant fighting force that the military calls upon. When something has to go down, who do they call? They call the Marines. You let them go in and take care of it, get it started for us, right? And so that's one of the biggest things I think that a lot of people don't understand. Like, I mean, the Air Force veteran, we get a lot of crap from a lot of people, right? But crayon eaters, this or that, right? But I was like, you guys aren't understanding, right? People join the Air Force because they smart, right? They smarter than the rest of us, right?
That was my brother.
Yeah, they're smarter than the rest of us. Let me be able to get a job when I get out of service, right? Let me be able to do something when I get out of service. Let me get a job, right? Yeah. And a lot of us in the Marine Corps, we're like, dude, I'm just done. We are those lonely people that are just like, oh man, like, what am I going to do after I get out? How do I do this? How do I do that? And it is what it is. But I mean, for me, like my most significant moment, I think is for like anybody. So when I got in, like I said, I joined in 2001, and one of the most memorable moments that they don't do it in boot camp anymore. It was going through the crucible, right? You go through the crucible, and at the end, when you're done doing your crazy ass 36 hours, whatever it is, whatever straight, 72 hours or whatever it is that you're doing straight, all the training and exercise and team building and all that stuff that you're doing, when you get to top of Mount Motherfucker and they play Proud to Be an American, right? Proud to Be an American, they put that EGA in your hand, right? Because now you're a Marine. You went through everything that we put you through, and now you can call yourself a Marine, right? Because unlike now in the Marine Corps, you get camis, you already have the EGA on it. When I went through, you had to iron that EGA. You had to earn it, and you had to iron that EGA onto your pocket, right? Unlike now where it's already there. And so that's one of my most proudest moments, because like I said, when I did it, the clouds were just hovering over the mountaintop. They had everything set up. It was a giant ceremony for all of us that made it through the crucible. And I got that EGA placed in my hand, right? And that's probably one of the most proudest moments. I mean, now they don't do that. One of my brothers was a drill instructor, and we stayed with him after I got out of Hawaii. And he was a drill instructor out in Pendleton, out in San Diego. And they're like, you want to go see these Marines get their EGA? I said, yeah, we're gonna go on top of Mount Motherfucker. And they're like, no. I said, so when do they get the EGA? And they get it on the parade deck now. I'm like, that was pointless. You went through all that stuff and you just get it here on the parade deck. Like, I was like, this is why the Marines are the way they are when they come to my fleet now. This is what you guys are doing to them at boot camp. And when they come to my fleet, this is why they're so soft. They don't understand the meaning. They don't understand why it's so important to be able to obey your leaders, And I was just like, this is crazy. I said, this is exactly why I died. This is why you guys are, this is why they're so messed up when they come to the fleet now.
Well, we have always got to be a strong force, especially in the greatest country in the history of our world. And when you start to baby your next generation of war fighters, right, you may run into some issues there. And I have all the faith in the world in the United States Marine Corps and still in my country that we will continue to train and put the best out there. Right. And that's what I have to believe, and that's what I pray on every day for my country and for those people that are serving actively in the military, as well as our veterans and first responders. Now, when you said, when people join the Marine Corps, they're looking for something. They're looking, and you said it, only you can save you, right? And when we get to that point in our life on saying, damn, push is coming to shove here, if I don't do something, I'm not going to end up leaving where I'm from. I'm going to get stuck. I'm going to end up working a 9-to-5 job. I'm not going to be happy. I need some training here. I'm not going to college. So that's when a lot of us say, I've got to do something. And because of my elementary school years and middle school years and high school years, I can't join the Air Force or go to college. Right. So I go in the Marine Corps, and that's what changes our life, essentially. And it really brands us, and it makes us the men we are today. Like you said, you are giving your family and your children everything you did not have. Again, so when my kids say, Dad, I want to join the Marine Corps, I say, son, sit down. You have the structure. You have everything here in place. Now, and I don't think it's a good fit for you, son. And let me explain and let me counsel you. And this is how we this is how we grow, and this is how we evolve. The Marine Corps is not for everybody, but it was for us.
Right.
like my brother. Oh, I would never see him being a Marine. Oh, but I would definitely see him being a flying crew chief in a C-17 in the Air Force.
Right.
So those are just things I think that were important to bring up now. Now, I want to get into some very, 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 very important topics here. And it's topics that I am very, I'm a boot on marijuana and on CBD and the effects of alternative medicine. And folks, if you're tuning into this because you saw the promo we made with the marijuana leaf and the Stoned Vet, guys, this is not going to be a show on comedy here.
No, not
this is a real life show about advocacy and how perhaps CBD and these alternative medicines can help save lives. Now, before we get started with that, I just want to play a reel here that I think is very, very important for people to understand and to realize how veterans are medicated in our country. So I got my meds for the month then. Haven't opened it yet, so let me do that. I want to share this with you guys because I've never done this before. And I think it's important. So paperwork. I don't know. It's my pills. It's my monthly. Now, Sgt G, when you see things like this happen, within the veteran community, I mean, we are medicated, and I'll be the first one to admit, I have some serious problems inside my body. My body suffered a catastrophic injury in 2016 that I am still trying to pick the pieces up from because the inside of my body was destroyed. Because of that, I have to take a lot of pills to make it through the day, whether if it's my bladder paralysis or if it's from the diseases I have in all three levels of my spine, whether it's some cognitive type issues, whether it's, just anxiety, depression. I mean, there's a lot of things that I need to treat myself for that a lot of people may not even know what has been damaged inside my body. So that doesn't come without a price. And that price is feeling groggy a lot, feeling tired, feeling frustrated, and at times feeling as if I am less than of a man because I'm forced to take so many pills every single day, again, to make it through the day. And I know there's got to be a better way out there for me. And I've been trying so hard to come off some of these pills. And this is why I keep trying to perhaps educate myself on the benefits of perhaps take another approach on to find, maybe I can start to do some of this medical marijuana experimentations or CBD or whatever it may be. That's why I'm very drawn to you, because the work you're doing, I believe, is saving lives and preventing a lot of the things that make me feel horrible when I get my bags of pills coming in. And that's why I had to show that video, because that's alarming. Like, I'm 45 years old and I started these pills at 38, and there's got to be a better way. What do you have to say to folks like me out there that are struggling and they want to come off the pills, but they just don't know how? They don't have a plan in place.
No, absolutely, brother. Every time I see videos like that, like, it brings tears to my eyes, because it's like, what are we ingesting? What are we taking in, right? What are we what are we putting our bodies through, right? And so like you saw there, I mean, in that video, I mean,
yeah,
20, 30 different bottles of pills, right? All different things, right? At least, you know. And a lot of the guys that may be listening into the show and my audience that listens in on my show on a weekly basis, this is one of the things I try to, this is one of my fights, right? This is why I'm fighting for federal legalization of cannabis, right? Of plant. Go figure it out. Of all the things we need to fight for legalization of, a plant, like in my background, right? You see those trees? They grow freely. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing against that. It's a plant, right? Them trees, the bushes, the shrub, the grass. It's a plant. It grows, right? Nobody's arguing about the grass growing, right? Nobody's arguing that the trees are growing, right? But for us veterans, right? For a majority of the people who listen in on the show we are Afghan, Iraqi war veterans, right? And one of the biggest struggles we deal with, right? We deal with a lot of crap, right? Like you got multiple ailments you suffer from, right? You got all these diseases in your spine, your bladder, head trauma, everything else that we suffer from, right? And being a veteran, that's one of the things we suffer from is PTSD, anxiety, depression, and then our aches and pains from our body, right? That infamous white bag, I got 2 of those in my drawer right now. I open them up for my painkillers and mostly my painkillers and my anxiety and depression medications, right? Why? Because I can't consume right now. I'm at about 20 days till I'm off probation, then I'll be able to consume again. But one of the biggest things that I try to advocate for and what I try to do is try to help educate our community in understanding plant-based medicine, right? A lot of people are stuck on the stigma that the government gave to cannabis saying it's bad for you. It's bad for you. It's bad for you. It's bad for you. Like all those pills you take, we have veterans. I can walk up to any veteran and ask him how many pills he's taking, and he'll tell you I'm taking between 10 to 40 pills a day just to live a somewhat normal life, right? A somewhat normal life so I can function, right? So my body doesn't hurt. What I loved when I was consuming cannabis is how I wouldn't hurt anymore, right? Me and my wife, we go back and forth, and she's a huge advocate. She started Rapha 180, right? Like I tell everybody listens on my episodes on a weekly basis. Rapha 180 provides the best medicinal grade THC-free CBD, right? What a lot of people don't understand is like, why do people advocate for cannabis? Why do people advocate for CBD? Why do people advocate for plant-based medicines, right? Plant-based medicines has been around for thousands of years. Plant-based medicine was around when Jesus walked the earth. When those pyramids and those freaking beautiful statues in Egypt were built, they treated their workers with plant-based medicine, right? They didn't go to the pharmacy and say, I need a muscle relaxer, or I need this, or I need that. If you don't look back into what Big Pharma has done with the medications, with all those pills, they took them off plant-based medicine and tried to make them, they made them man-made and say, we're going to make it better, right? And so one of the big things, you guys that do listen in on my shows, you guys know how adamant and how much I advocate for this beautiful plant, because I know what it's done for me. And when I tell everybody that wants to start considering using it, like Mr. Brian Talley, he's like, dude, I'm just tired of taking all these damn pills, right? Because you don't take them all at the same time. You'll take 2 here, 3 there, 4 here. And then what's it say? As needed. What does that even stand for? As needed, right? When you need it, or what? Or what? And so one of the biggest things, I mean, for yourself, I can only imagine, right? Because if not, and sometimes you have to be on routine, you have to be on a schedule. I got to take these ones at 8. I got to take these ones at 10. I got to take these ones at 12. I got to take these ones at 4. I got to take these ones at 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. I mean, it does make me feel like I am less of a man because I put so much pressure on myself, and it does hurt. And I tell my wife all the time, it sucks taking pills. I tell my kids all the time, it sucks taking. I hope you guys never, ever have to experience this. It is exhausting. It's frustrating. If I miss a pill, I know it. My body will, it reacts in ways that I'm like, oh my God. And then you get into this like sort of panic attack. And I'm not even talking about anxiety medicine. It's like, oh shit, I forgot to take my medicine. But you start to feel the onset of that medicine not being in you, and your body will react, and it will let you know. Like sometimes I do forget to take my medicine, and it's not something that I'm doing because I don't want to take it. It's because I forget. And so my wife's always like, hey, did you take your meds? Did you take your meds? To the point now where I've got like this 30-day planner. It's like I walk in and I look like I'm 90 years old. I look like I'm 90 years old, and here I am. I look fine on the outside, but my body's been destroyed on the inside. Right. And I have to take these pills to, again, make it through the day. And I know there's got to be others out there that feel like me. And again, I tried it before. Okay. The whole CBD approach and the medical marijuana approach. And a lot of people don't know this about me. I have tried it. Okay. And I've tried it. It was like 5 years ago. And I tried it again like 3 years ago. And it didn't help me. If anything, it made me feel like I was super just, like it almost increased my anxiety a little bit. It didn't really take any edge off of the pain, but it made me feel like I was like looking around and like, what's that?
No, absolutely. So, you're absolutely right about that. And so this is one of the things that I tell people, right? People get scared, right? Like yourself. I tried it and it scared me. It made me feel like this. I did not like how it made me feel, right? And this is one of the things I keep telling my audience, right? I tell my audience on a regular basis, you have got to journal this, right? CBD and cannabis is like any medication the doctor gives you. When a doctor puts you on a new medication, what does he tell you? Try it for a couple of weeks and schedule appointment for a couple of weeks out. Take this pill for a couple of weeks, every day for a couple of weeks, and annotate how it's making you feel.
It's true.
Annotate how it's making you feel, right? If it makes you feel like crap, when you go in, you can tell him, I don't like how it makes me feel. So what does he do? He prescribes you something else, or he prescribes you at a lower dosage or even a higher dosage, or like I said, a completely whole new medication, right? The same thing goes with cannabis and CBD, right? There are so many CBD companies out there, and this is why I advocate. This is why I advocate for Rapha 180, right? This is why I advocate for them, because when you go and start looking into trying to take CBD, you're like, where do I even begin? Where do I even start? There are so many different labels. There's so many different numbers. There's so much different CBD out there, right? And this is why I'm proud to be in Oklahoma, because everywhere that CBD, where Rapha 180 gets their CBD from, is manufactured and processed. They've actually took me to the lab and watch it go from plant to oil. And they said, you can watch us do this process and you can know everything that's inside your product, which is phenomenal, because why am I going to take a CBD that I can pick up at a gas station? I can pick up at a liquor store, right? I go to a vape shop and pick up a CBD, right? Where is the common knowledge of it? How is it processed? What's in it, right? Rapha 180 provides you all their lab testing for all their products they have on their website. They have lab testing for every product on their website, which is phenomenal, because that's what I tell my patients, my veterans who are wanting to try cannabis. Have you looked at the lab reports and see what's in the product? You are ingesting this. You're consuming it, right? Unlike all those pills that were in that bag, how were they processed? I don't know. What's in it? I don't know.
Well, the warning labels, the warning labels are
will tell you, right?
Horrifying.
Do you know the number one side effect of anxiety medication?
Probably anxiety medication.
Anxiety is the number one effect of anxiety medication. That's the number one side effect of anxiety medication is anxiety.
And I hate it so. I hate it so
sucks,
bad.
Right?
It just steals so much. It's still so much joy. It steals so much joy.
It steals so much from you, right?
Yeah, I hate it. I hate it.
And this is what I tell you. So if you guys have been watching my episode every Wednesday, I've teamed up with Veteran Trash Talk, and I produce an episode for them every Wednesday, and it comes out on my YouTube channel and on Spotify as well. I've gone through 10 weeks now. The past 10 weeks, I've gone through every terpene in the cannabis plant. But not only are they in the cannabis plant, these terpenes are the same terpenes we consume on a daily basis. And a lot of people don't understand that, right? What is a terpene, right? A terpene is the smell of a plant. If you pick up an orange and you smell an orange and you smell how sweet and juicy it is, that is the terpene profile of that orange. If you pick up a lemon, you smell the smell of a lemon, right? That is the terpene. You clean your kitchen sinks. I guarantee it. You clean it with a lemon scented whatever. That lemon scent is the terpene. When you smell roses and you're like, wow, these smell amazing. That is the terpene profile, right? So for the past 10 weeks, I've been going through every terpene in the cannabis plant that we consume on a daily basis. Pepper, basil, pine trees, fir trees, lemons, oranges, pinene, right? Every terpene, we already consume it on a daily basis. My goal is to hope that when you start realizing that you're consuming these terpenes, notice if it's making a difference in your day, right? A lot of people don't understand that. Like essential oils, I guarantee you 90% of people have diffusers in their house. And what do they put in those diffusers? Essential oils. What are essential oils? Terpenes pulled from the plant. Your lavender, your linalool, your woodsy smells, right? Lemon smells, orange smells. Those are all terpenes that you're putting in your diffuser to put in your house, right? Why do people put diffusers on and they put lavender in it? To calm the mood in the home, right? And so what my goal is to help educate my community, right? The sickness that you deal from, that 90% of us deal from, is all started in the endocannabinoid system. A lot of people don't know about the endocannabinoid system, right? And I tell people, if you want to learn about your endocannabinoid system, go to NIH.gov, the National Institute of Health.gov, the government website. Type in endocannabinoid in the search bar, and it's going to show you what the endocannabinoid system. And the only way you can replenish your endocannabinoid system is through cannabinoids, which is found in CBD and cannabis. The cannabinoids is what the endocannabinoid system is what tells you you're sick. The endocannabinoid tells you if you have a cold, if your back is hurting, if you're suffering from different ailments that you've gotten from serving our country, right, and living a normal life. And so what I try to tell people is like, if you're going to start consuming cannabis, you need to start journaling it. Pull out your phone. There's notes in here. You can keep notes. You can text it to somebody. Okay, I bought this strain. This is the name of the strain. I was able to look at the lab report, and these are the terpenes that are in it, right? And how did it make me feel after I consumed it? Like I consumed cannabis and it made me anxious and I don't like it. I won't ever touch it again. Understandable. It scared you. But those pills you're taking every day, do you understand what it's doing to your intestines? Do you understand what it's doing to your liver, your kidneys, your heart, your lungs, everything internal? It's poisoning them. Essentially, the medication you're taking from the VA is poisoning your body. And that's one of the people don't understand, right? Everybody knows 22 veterans take their life every day. People understand that, right? Here in Oklahoma, they said we're averaging about 27 a day in Oklahoma. But they're actually doing a new study, and the numbers are actually going to go up. And what a lot of people don't understand is that, yeah, we take our lives to suicide because we can't just do it anymore, right? Because we're in pain, right? Like yourself. I take all these pills and I'm in pain all the time. I can't do this, right? But people don't ever talk about the veterans who are dying from opioid addiction. All those pills you take, imagine if you took all of them at the same time with the shot of whiskey, with the drink in your hand.
You die.
What do you think? What's going to happen? You're going to die, right?
Yeah.
Right? But you have access to all your pills. You have access to all your pills, and this is what I tell people. The VA will give you whatever you want.
Unfortunately, it's easier to get the pills than it is to get an appointment, with your primary care provider. And,
Absolutely.
and I guess you are really preaching a lot of things here to me that I didn't know. I'm taking some good notes here. I guess when I have experimented in the past, I must have thought to myself, like, it's one size fits all when really it's not.
It's not.
There may need to be, several.
You need to have somebody holding your hand, right? The doctor holds your hand when he gives you the medication. He's holding your hand and saying, "Try this," right? And it's hard to find somebody to be like, I want to try this. And so, like I said, my sponsor, Rapha 180, what they do, they have their phone number, they've got email address at the bottom of the website, right? Because where do I start? Because you have 250 milligrams in a bottle. You have 500 milligrams in a bottle, 1,000 milligrams, 2,500 milligrams, silver, gold, platinum, emerald. Where do I begin? Like, there's so much out there. And if you're not educated on it, it's like, where do I even really start when I start taking CBD oil? Who can I talk to? Who can I talk to say, hey, this is what I suffer from, and this is what I talk about. This is what Rapha 180 talks about all the time. They're like, I just need you to sit down with me so I can see why do you want to take CBD? What is bothering you so bad that you want to try CBD, right? So they can say, okay, I recommend starting here. Why? Because I've been doing this for 10 years. I recommend you start here and let me know how it's making you feel. There's been patients that have came on board and they would try a CBG product, right? Because they were dealing with so many different things. Let's say, okay, let's start you with the CBG product. They were taking a CBG product and they came back, I don't feel good. My anxiety, I'm irritated, I'm this, I'm that. Okay. CBG, what people don't understand, is a stimulant. It will make you angry. It will make you anxious. It will make you feel like crap. Let's get you off the CBG and give you a higher dosage of CBD to balance you out, right? And a lot of people are like, oh, okay. And when we get them off the CBG and get them on a higher dosage of CBD, I feel a lot better. I'm not as anxious. I'm not as mad. I'm not irritated as much anymore. The CBG is a stimulant. CBG will do that to you. But nobody's there to educate you. Nobody's providing that information to our veterans, right? There's no advocates out there. And it's hard to talk to somebody and be like, what do you really know about this product? What do you really know about CBD? What do you really know about cannabis, And that's one of the things, like you said, it scared me. I didn't like how it made me feel. I got anxiety off of it. It made my anxiety very high. Well, what were you smoking? What type of terpenes was in that flower? How was it processed? Are they using chemicals to process the flower when they grow it? And this is the things that I try to advocate and tell people. You have got to obtain knowledge. That's why I do my shows, because if you're like me, I don't like to read. But if somebody's reading it to me, then I feel more confident because they're reading it from somewhere. They got a viable source that they're reading it from. Then they're just reading it for me. And so I'll listen to it, And then I'll go back and double check that the information was actually accurate. And so that's one of the biggest things is that this is why I tell people, I said, we fought in a war for 20 years, right? We were overseas for 20 years. But when we got home, there's still a war here that we have to fight, right? Brian, out of all people, you know what it took for you to go to Congress and get your bill signed, right? You understood the work that it took to get that bill passed for us as the veterans. The same thing needs to happen in regards to medical freedom, to be able to take the medication that we deserve, right? Because I'm not only an advocate just for cannabis, I'm also an advocate for psilocybin, mushrooms. The studies have been out and they've came out. The studies that are showing that be done with psilocybin is phenomenal what it does to the brain, right? Because like I tell us, Brian being a jarhead as well, one of the first things they do to us in boot camp is what? Sever our emotional tie. Because they tell you, you become emotionally connected, you die. You become emotionally connected, they die, your brothers and your sisters. So guess what? You go through boot camp and they breed you. And then when you're done with boot camp, guess what? Now you're a Marine and now you don't know how to interact with people. You don't know how to continue that relationship, right? That's one thing I suffer from the most is friendships, my relationships with my spouse, my relationship with my kids. Why? Because I have no emotional connection to anything anymore. But the science that has been coming out in regards to psilocybin is actually showing that the nervous system is actually rewiring itself. And so when you understand these plant medicines that are out there that we just don't really know about, is learning how can this help me, right? I've brought on amazing people. I had Brittany from White Rabbit. I had another jarhead called the Marine Warrior. These guys will tell you and they talk to you about breath works, how breathing techniques actually work, how meditation actually works, right? And how to start doing it and using it, right? Because like I said, unless you want to continue taking all those pills, I mean,
I know
It's daunting. It's daunting when you got to take these pills on a regular basis, right? And some of those pills, right? Some of those pills are counteractive to counteract the side effects of other pills, right? And so working with doctors and such like that, the doctor will tell you once you're taking over 3 pills, the first medicine you're taking to treat something isn't even working anymore, because now you're taking all these other pills to counteract the side effects of all the other pills that you're taking.
And I can add, I don't know why I did that video. I just felt, there's a lot of things that lately God has come into my life and has been saying, do this and do that. And when I got that, because it's the same thing I do every month, it's
right.
It's nothing different. But for some reason that day last week when I got that, I'm like, is this really the life I want to live for the rest of my life and
rest
be
of your life
upon all these pills and all this other stuff? But I put the work in, Sgt G. I go on walks. I do the mindfulness. I sit in rooms. I still haven't gotten down the meditation because my body won't ever relax. Like it just won't. And I don't know if it's the way I'm wired or if it's the imbalance or the chemical, whatever it is. I'm always have been a high energy guy. Even when, I live a life of pain, I'm still this high energy guy because I fight every day. I want to live the best life I possibly can. And I did live 4 years in a chair where I was miserable and I was defeated. And then finally one day in 2019, I got up and I said, I'm going to get 1% better. And that's what I've done. And that's what I've publicly displayed. But still, it is a struggle. It is a struggle. And I have a question for you. I have one question for you here. And then we're going to end it because we've got about 5 minutes left here. Do you think, in your own personal and professional opinion, that one, military veterans are over medicated and over prescribed? And do you think it does have a direct relationship to veteran suicide?
No, absolutely. Hands down. We are very over medicated. We are over medicated thus far. I mean, you're not the only one receiving a bag like that. Imagine how many veterans are getting those bags, right? I want to say there's approximately like 220,000 veterans that get out of service. And what's the first thing the VA does? Let me give you a bag of pills, right? Does that lead to suicide? You're absolutely right. Like I told you, the number one side effect for anxiety medication is anxiety. One of the things why I'm such a massive advocate, right? Because I see what cannabis has done for me. This is why I'm a huge advocate, right? My son, I was just in a men's group the other day, and my son told him, I noticed a difference with my dad when he smokes cannabis, right? Because like you, I'm wired, I'm high strung, I'm go, high strung, don't care. And it's hurt my kids. I've hurt my kids, right? I've yelled at them, I scream at them, like we all do, because that's how way we function. That's what we do, right? But when my own son can look at me and say, Dad, I notice a difference when you use cannabis and you're more lovable, you're more likable to be around, is why I'm a huge, massive advocate, right? Because like I said, I suck at relationships. I suck at having friendships. I suck at being a husband and a father. It sucks because it's the way I'm wired. I tell people the Marine Corps is my mama and my dad because I joined when I was 17 years old. And those were the only people that were there for me when I joined, And so this is one of the things I tell my people, tell my veterans about. If you live in a state and cannabis has not been legalized yet, why? What are you doing to help fight for legalization in your state? Oklahoma, we're medically legal. You there, Brian, David Bass is doing amazing things in Texas right now. And he has allowed cannabis to start becoming useful in Texas. There's still things that need to be made, but he's doing amazing work there in Texas for the veteran community. I know you got the Teacup program. You had asked me about it. That's something I definitely look into, Brian. Start looking into it. Start trying it. If you guys are considering using cannabis, try it. But like I said, make sure you journal it. You've got to know how it's making you feel. You've got to know the side effects, right? They're not going to tell you the side effects. Nobody knows the side effects of Granddaddy Purple. Nobody knows the side effects of Do-Si-Do, Girl Scout cookie. Nobody knows those side effects. Why? because all of our bodies are made up differently. We all have a different chemical makeup. Not everything is one shoe fits all. It doesn't. You've got to understand what the terpenes are. You can check my episodes out on a weekly basis. I break down terpene by terpene by terpene by terpene. Out of 10 seasons, every terpene is an anti-inflammatory. What do we suffer from? Pain management, right? How many painkillers are you taking on a daily basis as needed, right? It tells you when you take a painkiller, what does it say? As needed.
Yeah, everything on there says as needed, except for maybe about 5 or 6 of my pills I have to take at a certain time and a certain day. But
yeah, and if you guys want to start using it, that's what I tell them. If you guys want to start using it, journal it, consume it, put it in your phone. Everybody has one of these in their hand. Everybody always has one of these in their hand. There's a notes tab in there. Journal it. Know what you're ingesting, right? If you want to start using edibles is a different hit than it is flour, but you have got to journal it. You've got to have an understanding as to what it's doing for you. Don't be scared of it. Will it scare you? Yeah, it will. You may go on a wild journey and be like, I did not like how it made me feel, but you definitely need to journal it so you have a wonderful understanding as to why I believe cannabis helps so much, why psilocybin helps so much.
You know, Sgt G, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but for the last 20 minutes, my face started to turn bright red because I'm getting stressed out just hearing this, because it does make me feel less of a man by taking my pills. It hurts me. Just because it really does. I need to take, 20 pills to make it through the day. It's not 40 like I used to take.
Right.
But still, every time I'm like, babe, can you get me a muscle relax? Hey, babe, I need a pain pill. Babe, I need another acetaminophen. Babe, I need another ibuprofen. Oh, I need another clonazepam. Oh my God, I need another. It just doesn't stop.
You don't.
And I think I have always taken this stigma approach. Like, I have children and I have a great relationship with my family. And even more so since my brush with death in 2016. And I live this life of gratitude, and I don't want to be sad and depressed and riddled with anxiety. I want to be happy and have that peace, love, hope, joy, and everything that was robbed from me for so long. And I've got that back. I'm pushing to get that 1% better every single day. And I think the problem is I used to take this approach that one size fits all, but I need to understand, I need to educate myself that I need to take an individual approach here. And I will build up enough courage again to sit down with somebody and say, okay, what can I do? Because there's a lot involved there, especially for guys like me that take so many pills that target so many different areas of my body. So in doing so, I don't want to hurt myself by trying this and then still doing, the cannabis. So like, there's going to need to be some sort of massive plan involved in my care, and taking that next step to try to figure out how I do that. I don't know how that looks, but I can tell you this right now. I can tell you this right now. You are a good man, Sgt G. You are a good man. You are dedicating your life again to service. You are educating. You are inspiring. You are full of knowledge. And why are you full of knowledge? Because this is your passion. This is your passion. You see it every day. The 22 is real. In Oklahoma, it's 27. And a lot of this could be as a result of pharmaceuticals. And then mixing it with alcohol or mixing it with other drugs that may completely alter who you really are as a person and put you in a place that is not a good place to be. And so, again, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me on this program, because I think you have really educated a lot of our listeners out there today. And I've taken notes that I am going to do some research on here today as well, because essentially you could save a life out there. And I know you already have probably saved numerous of lives for helping get veterans out there, or really anybody at this matter. We're all humans here, and everybody has their their own personal struggles. And if a natural plant, if a natural alternative can be a better fit for that person, I am all for that. And everybody else should be too. So with that, thank you for joining us today, Sgt G.
Absolutely.
We sincerely appreciate everything you have done and continue to do for our great nation and the military and the veteran community. Our country can't thank you enough for your service, sacrifice, courage, dedication, and bravery. You set an inspiring example for all of us, and it's truly honorable.
Absolutely, brother. I really appreciate this wonderful opportunity to be able to come out here and try to help provide an educational piece. Like I tell people, don't stop taking your medication when you start consuming cannabis. Incorporate cannabis into your daily routine and start noticing what you can start taking away. But you have got to introduce it. Don't just stop taking your pills, because I don't want you to be like, oh, see, it didn't work. Keep taking pills, man. If you guys are really considering taking a CBD oil, go check out Rapha 180, Romeo Alpha Papa Hotel Alpha 180.com. And you can check out all their amazing products. They just got gummies back in stock. They help tremendously. I give them to my kids, and it helps to calm them down and just be able to be functioning like we all should be.
Well, there you have it, folks. Until next time, for Tuesdays with Tally, this is Brian Tally. Good night, Semper Fi.